A new study says that there are a lot of challenges for the children of gay parents. There has been a theory for a while that there is really no difference between the outcomes of children who are raised by male and female parents versus those who are raised by gay parents. However, there is apparently a new study that calls this into question, and Dr. Keith Ablow of our Fox News Medical A-Team joins us now to talk about this, and as you can see, he's got an article about it right now on FOXNEWS.com. So, Dr. Ablow.
Hey, Patty Ann, how are you?
So what does the study say?
Well, the study says two things in this journal, Social Science Research, an esteemed journal. One paper asserts that the prior studies, which led the American Psychological Association in 2005 to be the purveyor of this no differences theory. Listen, a couple in which one of the members is homosexual or both, their children fare no worse and no better than heterosexual parents. Those studies are found to be lacking. They're small samples, and the analysis of them by this researcher and published by this journal says really that statement shouldn't have been made by the American Psychological Association. It's not based in science. Then there's a sister or brother article in this journal that tested about 3,000 adults aged 18 to 39 and looked at how have they fared in life if they either came from an intact family of two heterosexual parents or other constellations like a divorced family, or if they knew that one of their parents had had a gay relationship. So with just that knowledge leads to some unfortunate challenges for those kids, and it really calls for further research. Because if you're a kid who grows up knowing that one of your parents has had a gay relationship, you are more likely to be depressed. You are more likely to be arrested. You are more likely to contemplate suicide. You are 1,000% more likely to say in adulthood that you were abused sexually as a child. These are concerning data that have to be investigated. And I know how controversial it is, but as a doctor, as somebody who cares about science, you can't dismiss numbers that come across as compellingly as these do.
But let me just back you up for a minute, because you said that this study also included children of divorced parents. You mean who are not gay?
Yes, that's correct.
So it's not just children of gay
Correct,
kids.
but the group that did the worst and was in fact the group identified as those who knew that one of their parents had had a gay relationship. So if they are possessed of that knowledge, presumably while growing up, and then at 18 to 39 they're studied, having a parent who is known to be either bisexual or gay limits their economic success. It seems in this study it limits their ability to say that they're happy with their lives. It limits their relationship success. And I think most concerning, it suggests in those families in which one of the children says, I know my mother to have had a lesbian relationship, there's a 1,000% increase in the possibility that those young women grown to adults will say, as a young person, I was touched inappropriately or forced into a sexual encounter in my home by a significant person in my life. Now that's, you know, a 10 times increase from 3% to 31% of those young women say I was subjected to this horrible abuse. I think we got to look more at it, and it's such a controversial thing. I got to tell you, I hesitate to write the blog, because every time I do, I get threats. No, I get threats. I get threats. People come; they're going to come to my office. They're going to burn down my house.
But you're citing a study. It's incredible. A study by a
I know, but see, in this politically correct, insane environment, citing data doesn't seem to be compelling enough, because there's a lot of hatred.
Are there other explanations for some of the factors here? For example, many children of a gay couple, one of them might be the biological parent or neither. Very often they're adopted, or if, one of the parents was biological, the other one is not, because they're same sex, so there had to be someone else in the mix there. Does the adoption factor or does that play into this at all, contribute to that might have nothing to do with the sexual orientation of the parents, but rather other factors?
Well, children adopted by strangers did better than the children of individuals known to be gay. Children living with a step-parent did better than children of couples in which one of the partners is known to be gay. What they didn't look at is, look, if these couples were allowed to marry, if we were to wipe out all stigma associated with gay adults and say we're going to really make it equal, would that, since these kids are 18 to 39 now, would that level the playing field? Are we looking at an effect of stigma?
That's a good question,
and that's up to interpretation.
And yeah, we have a comment from All for Jory, who says, kids will tease kids over anything. If the parents are gay or lesbian, you have just one more thing, kids will tease them. That's kind of the point that you're just making there. There's that factor as well.
That's true. That is true. And as a psychiatrist, I'm concerned about that, the bullying factor. It's also the case that if you grow up and from the beginning of your life, even if you're adopted, at age 1 and 2 and 3, you are very unlikely to know that fact. So you look at your dad and mom, and you say, well, it looks like we're a family unit. I must have come from them somehow.
Yeah.
Now, you couldn't possibly conclude that if your parents are same gender.
Right.
Because that would be not possible. Unless there were artificial insemination or a surrogate carrying the child. And so that knowledge, we should really look at that. What does that mean if a child grows up in a household where they are possessed of the certain knowledge, I cannot have come from those folks? Does that impact them at all? In what ways? What does it mean? And why is there a tenfold increase in sexual abuse as reported by these people? Tenfold. What's going on here?
Yeah. All right. Well, the chatters are going wild. I'll read just two of them. Brian Conway says, same thing the other person had said, other children can be cruel. Kids in school ridiculing the same-sex parents can be very hurtful. And then Charles Reeve says, I believe children in a same-sex home are faced with confusion, such as how are children created, because homosexuals are unable to procreate naturally. They're also faced with being made fun of.
But what's interesting is that people will want to dismiss this data because it's uncomfortable, and that's where the scientists should come in and say, we're going to look at it, we'll report the facts, and then you folks make of it what you will.
Yeah, a lot of questions, and well, we'll see how this goes, but certainly interesting. All right, Dr. Keith Ablow, thank you so much for joining us. And again, his article is on the website, FOXNEWS.com, and there's his own webpage, which is? KeithAblow.com. Simple enough.